Yeah, it's our job. We have to, above everything else, above being popular, above
That's right.
fitting in, above even our kids liking us,
Right.
above whether other parents think that we're too
Or
strict
agree
or
with you.
whatever. Even if coaches don't agree with us, it's our job to steward these kids because they're God's kids.
Hello, everyone. We are Greg and Jacquie Francis, and welcome to High Performance Parenting, where our passionate goal is to encourage you to raise champion children in a crazy world. Every week, we will bring you multiple episodes from our extensive experience of raising our six happy, healthy, successful, godly kids who are confidently equipped to win big in life.
We deeply believe that any parent who is provided with the right knowledge and continual support can raise amazing kids. And when they do, all of our futures get better. If raising up future generations of absolute champions matters to you as much as it does to us, here's how you can contribute. Like and share this podcast with everyone you know. And together, let's embrace this journey of raising champion kids in a crazy world. Okay, honey, we're back. We are in part 3 of how to prep for an amazing school year. We got a little sidetracked telling some Drew stories last time about skipping 80 maths and then, catching up in 2 weeks and just how he does things.
Yes.
By the way, it's funny. I was giving him a hard time yesterday. We were golfing and, we're getting towards the end of the first 9 and I'm like adding up everybody's scores and stuff. And of course, Chrissy had a certain score and she came over and looked at it when I was hitting or something. She's like, Dad, I'm one lower than you thought. I'm like, I totally trust you. I don't have to even re-add them because she's probably really on it. And then Drew's is like, hey, Dad, what about whoa. And he's like, what? I said, aren't you the kid that skipped 80 maths? I'm not trusting how you add. He was like, Dad. It was so funny.
Yeah. And he probably giggled. He doesn't
He
care.
just laughed. We always kind of jaw jacked with each
Our
other like that.
podcasting is going on, and our podcast pup is still not amused with us if you were listening to our previous message, but Molly's over here exhausted
I
from our
want
podcast.
to show it, but I'm afraid I'm going to mess up.
I'll take a photo.
I'm going to try it anyways. Turn this thing around. So there's the station where Hunter normally does. There's our dog. Oh, God.
She's so not impressed.
She's so funny.
But anyways, we were finishing up school, schedules, just getting on track with what that looks like. I think more than anything, as we kind of just, put a bow on it and stuff, is that, what we found is that every family is different, but kids do so well with predictability. When they know what's expected of them, when the communication is open, when they get to come and give you feedback too, like, hey, this is what's working well for me, this isn't what's working well for me. We are always open to it. And I gotta tell you, some of our kids have gone through seasons where certain subjects have been really hard for them. Maybe math, for instance, has been hard for a child or two during different seasons. And we've had to learn the hard way how to really get them organized with that, what that looks like, and not be frustrated with them. So if you're going through a season where you're like, my kid just is not excited about this subject, you know what I mean? I can just tell you, again, you're not the only one, and number 2 is sometimes certain seasons are going to look harder than others when it comes to school, everybody has favorite subjects and everybody enjoys certain things. And for us, our thought process was never that all of our kids had to be straight A students. That was never the concept for us. It's always been that they actually understand the topic that they're studying. And if that means, not A+ all the way around, but they understand it and they're learning and growing and changing with it and they can use it for the future, we've always been pretty open to working with our child with that, wouldn't you say?
For sure. By the way,
No,
what
you're
did
interrupting.
what did the
No.
rude triangle say to the circle?
I don't know.
You're pointless. Hey, what U.S. state has the most math teachers? Massachusetts. Come on. These are good and
They're not in the middle of my talk.
All right, I want to switch gears. And so I have something I want to ask you about and things that I'm going to have a conversation with the kids about, right? And I want to ask, how can our kids, if I'm asking the kids, how can you get the best? How can you get the best of yourself out of this school year? Like, what can you do this year specifically to get the best out of yourself? What do you think the kids can do? Like, what would your answer to that question be for them from their perspective, like what can they bring? What can they do? How can they push themselves or challenge themselves, to really have the best school year ever?
I mean, I think for each kid it's probably different, but one of them is to really figure out what their goal is for the year. Like, what are they trying to accomplish in their different subjects? I know for writing and reading, we have specific goals that we want them to comprehend and be able to write effectively, be able to communicate effectively, be able to understand different topics when it comes to writing and reading. We feel like that's one of our tools for the kids, that they must learn how to write effectively, communicate effectively. And so we have such an amazing tutor that helps with that kind of stuff. And that would be I would love to hear their goals.
Yeah. And honestly, us help kind of shape these goals because, like you said, each kid's different. If we're talking about Drews, it's like, can you just finish them? You know what I'm saying? He's going to be happy. But like Abby, what is her goal in a certain topic? Does she have to get a perfect, A on every single test? Because we don't think she needs to.
Right.
She might think she needs to. And then she adds layers of stress on herself. So we just kind of tailor it like, how about you work towards always having at least at 85 average, because she's going to work for 100.
Yeah.
But this gives her a little breathing room so she's not overthinking and overworking, which she can tend to do. You know what I mean? So I was thinking about some other stuff too, like one of them, really for us, it's like the school years, it's pretty structured in our house, and it's topics that we know that we want them on. They don't have to deal with school friends while they're doing schoolwork. It's I was thinking though, but they will be interacting almost daily in sports, right? And so how can they get the best out of the school year that way as well? And one of them is just being quick to not hang out with the wrong people and being okay with that, but maybe also trying to be a little bit more of a blessing in ways you can with the right people, almost being a little bit more interactive, a little bit more, how do I set the tone? How do I bring some of these good kids along with me? How do I help encourage them to do the right kind of stuff? How am I, that much more honorable or honoring to my coaches? How do I honor practices by being the hardest workers? Just like, I just feel like we will have this conversation with them, which will be really cool. It's like, can you have a mentality of like such a positive attitude? We love the Kendrick brothers movies. One of them's Facing the Giants, and I love when in the movie it shares how this coach is stressing out because they're losing games, and this team is just like not on board, and they don't even know like why they exist. They don't know what our main purpose is, to win football games, And then eventually he takes it to God, and he gets in the Word, and he's like, I don't think it is our main purpose. Our main purpose is to glorify Him with our effort, not necessarily to win. But if we glorify Him with our effort, it'll turn into wins, right? And so, but they have this statement in there that I just love, and it says like, you know what? If we win, we're going to praise Him. But if we lose, we're going to praise Him. Our job is to steward our effort. And whatever results turn out, we're going to be okay with them. And I'll tell you, it kind of shifts things for you. And I even think that I want to make sure that our kids really go into this sports season with that mentality, whether it's golf or whether it's tennis or whatever. Because, I've seen it. I've seen when other kids show up and they're really good at a sport, and our kids get a little bit like taken back. Like, I don't know if I think I was working harder than them, but I'm losing. And then they start almost losing their spirit of hard work, and because they're focused so much on the end result versus the process, And so that's one thing I want to really help steer them with. What else do you think that they could do this year that would help them have the best year ever?
Well, I like what you said about the friendship thing. Kind of going back to that for a second. I think you went kind of on the sports side for a second, but to talk a little bit about the friendship thing, I think it's really important for us to all, as parents, make sure that we don't just allow our kids to make friends with just anybody, assuming like, well, it's not a big deal. They're just hanging out with them for a little bit every day at school. Influence is a huge thing in today's world, and it's not just on social media.
At this age.
And we know social media is controlling the influence a lot of times, but it's not the only influence. And I think you can remember when you were a kid, just like I can. I mean, going to school from 8 to 3 with kids all day, and then getting on a bus with them all day, and then playing sports with them all evening. Those friends, quote unquote, shaped a lot of direction for me.
Yeah, they were the biggest influence in our life. They're the
Bigger
loudest
than
voices,
parents,
for sure.
bigger than teachers,
100%.
bigger than coaches.
100%.
And then you add to it that you actually then want have a sleepover party with that same friend, and then all of a sudden you want to go on a little birthday party with it. It's like it's overwhelming. And so I think as families today, we have to be more aware than ever who we allow our kids to hang out with friends wise, and then be okay to say no to it. It's okay to say no. Actually, this weekend we're not doing friend time. We're doing family time.
Yep.
It's okay tonight that we're actually not going over to so and so's house. We're gonna have dinner together. It's okay that we aren't going to that sporting event with our friend. We're actually gonna hang out as a family at the sporting event.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, for us and our kids, sports is important because they are homeschooled and they are home during the day. So when they get a chance, starting at 3:00, to join their friends and go on their sporting time and stuff and their different events, it does matter to them. But to us, long-term thought process, long-term goals, long-term family dynamic, long-term just being the best you're called up to be matters more than just allowing our kids to have fun in a season that could shape them in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
And so being really on that, I think having goals for what kind of friendships and standards you have in your house and not allowing too much friendship. We've just seen a lot of it. All of a sudden, they're hanging out with quote unquote friends. Really, they're acquaintances just because you're in the same subjects together.
Yep.
They don't have the same faith level, not the same family dynamics. They don't have the same respect and honor. Maybe not even respect for school and all that stuff. And it has changed the dynamic of that family unit that they have to then go back and try to fix.
Yeah. Yeah, it's big. And I feel, we've always been pretty intentional about this at all the different seasons, but it's a little different. It's one thing to have this conversation with Ellie at 12 years old.
Totally.
Versus our twins who are 16 and driving and the kind of things that their peers are starting to dabble with and experiment with and get a level of independence about is a whole different realm. And so, for us, if I want to put it on us for a minute, like, what are we going to do better this year to have the best school year ever? I just think we need to probably be even a little extra present this year with all the extra conversations that are happening, because we've always had a really great open door policy. In fact, you're a master at this, where you'll take, and you have a really good discernment of being able to sense if a kid is starting to, I don't know, almost just you can just tell something's going on. There's something on their mind, or maybe they're starting to get a little bit of an attitude, or they're starting to say things you wouldn't normally say. You and I both really pay attention to this. You especially have a great discernment for it. But then we also don't just like brush it off. It's like, hey, let's go for a walk, or hey, why don't you come with me so-and-so when I'm going to the grocery store running an errand? And then the conversations start coming up, You let me know this is going on too, and then I'm riding with him in a golf cart, and I'm trying to have a conversation. And typically it comes out like, well, how would this go? I saw somebody talking about this, or I know this person over here is doing this, and I didn't really know what to do with it. And then we get a chance to really give like mature perspective, and they need it probably more than ever. So I think, for one thing, making sure that we're probably have our discernment hat on a little bit tighter this year.
For sure. A lot more going on with older kids than ever before.
Yeah.
I also think as a parent, it's okay to say no. If things are going on in your house and stuff. We had a situation with one of our kiddos. This was last year. I don't know why math was a thing, but she also decided to skip some of her math for a season. And it was sad. It's sad when your kids do this stuff. We're not those parents that are like, oh, great, we just need to buckle down and really get after them. We're sad because they lost a little trust with us, but they lost their own trust, And so, but we had one, and she had to get her homework under control too. Last year, we caught her not following through, like a Drew situation. Her personality is different. Drew's was very much like, I did it. I'm just going to get in this. I'm going to fix it. Hers was a little more different.
Drew's is a little more innocent, I would say, in a way of like, he's just kind of being sanguine, skipping around. Honestly, wasn't like trying to hide that he had 80s that he's missing, He's like, yeah, it made sense to me, But then, you can have our other kid, and then it's a little bit more like they're struggling with it or something. So I'm going to just kind of pretend like I'm not doing something wrong.
Right. And so avoidant situation happened. And so she was picking up on other subjects that she enjoyed more. And moral of the story was, it was an opportunity where I found out this information, looked through her stuff, realized it was quite a bit that she needed to fix too. And moral of the story was, one of the things that was possibly, the actions had to be fixed. And one of it is, if you were so busy not doing what you need to do, now we need to get busy doing what you need to be doing. And so you might not have time for a sport right now. We might need to tell your coach we need to kind of wrap it up. And so for us, it was being more present than ever and telling her, this is your choice, not ours. You have a choice here as an adult, young lady, a young girl coming into adulthood, I should say, that we're going to stay on you, but we're asking you to step it up. And she almost had to give up a sport for a couple weeks, which would have really had her sit in the bench the whole time. And I will just tell you, as a parent, know your discernment. If you see something that's happening and you don't like it, reel it in. Start asking more questions. Get some, ramifications of what's going to happen. Talk as a couple. What are we going to do about this? And be okay. It might look different, but we're happy because we have to be more in it than ever with our kids in this season.
Yeah, it's our job. We have to, above everything else, above being popular, above fitting in, above even our kids liking us, above whether other parents think that we're too strict or
agree with you.
Whatever. Even if coaches don't agree with us, it's our job to steward these kids because they're God's kids.
That's right.
That's
good. Love you.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening and thanks for your love and support. We hope that today's episode added tremendous value to you and your family. It would mean so much to us if you would partner with us on our mission of helping parents around the globe raise champion children in this crazy world.
To do so, simply take a moment to like and share this podcast with everyone in your network. See you next time.